Call the meeting to order. This is the annual meeting of the Drum Point Property Owners General Membership. Robert's rules apply. Please don't speak until acknowledged by the chair. This meeting is being recorded. To help the meeting along, since we're having a late start, I'd like to limit remarks to 2 minutes each, 2 minutes for each person. We'll move along with the agenda. Welcome. Thank you for coming. The first thing on the agenda is my remarks. If you've been reading the local publications, it should be clear to you that at least one member of our community is upset with me and the board about the budget. We're going to have a full hearing about the budget tonight. You'll have an opportunity to make your own decision on how you want to vote on the budget. We've had a lot of inquiries, a few inquiries anyway, at the office about the changes in the fee structures. With very few exceptions, once the changes were explained to them, people were understanding and accepting of those changes and went along with the program. There are a few people that aren't happy with it though, and we respect that. You probably remember that we've been working on these changes for over 2 years, and they have been detailed in these meetings as well as in the newsletters. Of course, they have the full support of the board. And that's all I have for president's remarks right now. The next thing is approval of minutes. What's the pleasure? Anybody have a motion about the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes as distributed.
We have a motion to approve. A second. We have a second. Is there any discussion about the minutes? No. Hearing none, the call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. The next thing on the agenda is a presentation and hopefully approval of the budget. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that the budget as presented be accepted.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Mr. Baker.
Initially, I was a little confused, but that's nothing new. That's when we talked to him. But please correct me if I'm incorrect. I look at the year-to-date, and we have an income of $500,000. We have expenses of a significant number. Those numbers aren't reflected in this budget. But what I found was this budget does not include STD.
That's correct.
So that makes the difference. And if people are looking at why we're at a total of $264,000 instead of $500,000 and some odd thousand, that does not include STD. The next question I have is on the budget, there's a total income assets of $264,286, and right below it is a total income of $185. Why is there two numbers for income? I see that attempting to balance it.
Well, the big number, the 264 number, includes assets, not just income. The actual income for this budget is $185,610.
That's dollar amount.
That's correct. And the other number includes assets.
Property? When you say assets, what do you call it?
There are carryovers and
But that,
some CDs and things.
but that's money.
It's real money.
It's real money. So it should be total, should be 264, not 185. If you have that amount on hand to be spent or to be assigned.
Well, maybe it's time I give you a little rundown on how the budgeting process went so you understand. The budget that's been brought before you here tonight has gone through a vigorous process more vigorous than we've done in the past. And we feel like it's more accurate than it's ever been before. It used a zero-based budgeting process. That is, we looked at every line item and decided if it was even needed, and if it was needed, how much was needed. In that process of determining how much was to look at what was spent last year, and then look forward and see, do we need that much next year, or should it be adjusted? It's a zero-based budget. So every line item went through that. That was done by the office. That was then sent to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee reviewed it, gave their recommendations and sent it on to the board. The board has now approved it and it's come to you. One of the things that was done that's different than what we have been doing, but it isn't all that unusual. In fact, most HOAs and condos do it this way. The carryover money is not budgeted to be spent. So, in fact, there's the total income for all revenue sources. It's not, understand that this budget is only for covenant fees, assessments, and the sure is reflected in there. That's, really is handled by the state anyway. Not STD, because the STD budget is approved and managed by the county. So you don't get to vote on that. That's why it's not represented here. But our total income at the end of the year is $477,782. The total income or total budgeted expenses, that's for all categories, including the STD, is $418,560. That leaves $65,000 unbudgeted. That is our carryover money. Let me remind everybody at this point that this phased-in changes that were implemented. We're in phase 2 of it. The first phase was last year, where we changed from a volunteer dues structure to a mandatory assessment, a mandatory equitable use assessment. That was the first step. This is the second step, which was adjusting the covenant fees from the $10 in 1948 money to the $98 in today's money. As a result of making those changes, the third phase will be next year, when we have to go in for a new STD, and that STD will have reduced amounts so that the out-of-pocket for every property owner will be about the same as it always has been. What we're doing, there was 2 goals here to do this. Number 1 was to bring the money in-house so that you get to vote on it by approving the budget. Right now, all the money is not on the budget for you to approve, because a large portion of it is in the STD. And the STD is handled and managed by the county, not you. So this change brings that money into our budget so that we can, as a group, agree on how it's spent and how it's collected as well. The other goal was to make it equitable. That is, make it so that we didn't change the amount of money it's out of pocket for you on a yearly basis. That number has fluctuated over the years, but it's been as high as $260 per lot per year. We don't know what it's going to be yet, because we haven't developed next year's budget, and we won't be doing that until next year. So there may be changes to everything except the covenant fees, which will stay locked in at the CPI adjusted number. The mandatory assessment may change. We hope not, probably not. The STD definitely will change. It'll go down dramatically, but I can't tell you what that number is today. So having said all that, I know it's confusing, it is 4 revenue streams, and it's hard to understand all of it. But it's been given a good vetting, and the board is asking for your approval of tonight. So, have any more questions? Mike?
Yeah, I'm struck by one expense line item, maybe you could just explain, legal fees. I'm not sure what the total is. I see 2 different numbers, 15,000 and 25,000.
Correct.
I assume, could you explain what those are?
I sure can. That's a good question. It is a big number, and we thought long and hard about it. The legal fees are there in case we need them. We're hoping we don't have to spend them. 25 of it is coming out of covenants and 15 out of DPPOA fees. That is what the estimate is from our attorney if we have to go to court to defend our actions.
Well, then, do we, is there a fixed amount that's a retainer and then a variable amount that's based on an estimate?
There is a retainer, and the retainer is paid for out of the STD because it's part of the contract with the county that we have to have an attorney. So we're able to charge that this year out of the STD. Next year, that will be paid for by either DPPA, mandatory assessment, or covenant fee.
So the 40K is in addition to the retainer?
That's correct.
How much is it?
That's roughly $5,000. I'm sorry, that's not true. The retainer is $2,700, and then we have some other money on top of that for incidental questions and opinions we ask for. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I guess I didn't really understand your answer when you have total income and assets at 264, 286, and then total income at 185. Why the difference in the two numbers?
Can you explain that? The assets. Yeah,
Because we're not using the carryover money.
Oh, it's
Money.
carryover money.
Exactly. End of your balance falls.
the total income and assets is a addition of all of those lines above it. And the 185,610 is just an addition of the lines that are income, that is new income.
So the carryover we're on is just
We
sitting
have not
there.
budgeted all of the carry. It was a decision not to budget. Yes, sir.
Yeah, as you all know, I'm not paid the covenant fee as president presented. Am I the only one that's not? So how many people have dropped out?
I don't have the exact numbers, but we have a large majority of people have paid all of their fees this year. I don't have an exact number of how many people have not. But I'm being told that we're at close to 65% collection fees. That's actually, collection for covenant fees, that's not unusual even at $10 at this time of year.
This time of year.
So we're tracking to what's normal for our collections. Question? Yes, sir, in the back.
Okay, so we're moving away from the STD and going towards community-based revenue. Is the goal to eliminate the need for the STD or reduce it to a minimal amount to maintain the mechanism?
We're not trying to do away with the STD, start with that. We are trying to reduce the amount of the STD and have that money that's collected in the STD be used for projects only. Projects being a large stormwater management project, where things have washed out and have to be restored or rehabbed and paved. But it won't, all of the money will not come from STD for those projects. The money will also come from the covenant fees for those projects. So we're trying to minimize it so that, and and earmark the STD money for projects only. And there's two reasons for doing that. One is projects are kind of no-brainers. I mean, when you have to pay, you have to pay. And the County Board of Commissioners have made it abundantly clear to us that they don't want to see anything in the STD except money for paving and stormwater projects. And that's the reason why we're doing this.
Okay.
The other, of course, is so that we all get to vote on, what that budget is.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just, you got an example of the difference between the non-right-of-way and the right-of-way expenses, just for my,
Well, for a non-right-of-way is a combination of administrative and non-administrative, non-right-of-way expenses. You're probably looking at the covenant section.
yes,
Yes, non-right-of-way would be any expense that is not directly related to a road,
such as,
administrative fees, office expenses.
that's listed down below. That's what
But it's, and administrative fees, which are in fact things like staples, paper, the electricity to keep the office open, salaries, legal fees, insurances, that sort of thing. Those are administrative fees. And right now, this year, those administrative fees are split between the covenants, the mandatory assessments, and the STD. Next year, STD will not be paying for any of that. It will all come over to DPPOA funded either covenant or assessments. Carolyn?
Yeah, question concerning the lawyer's fees. When I was on the board, I guess, 5-6 years ago, the fees were then $3,500 for the lawyer. And I think you just stated the lawyer has told you they should be $40,000 or $45,000. Why the change?
Well, as I explained before, that's separate from the retainer and the normal attorney's fees, where this money is earmarked to be spent if we have to defend ourselves in court.
Then why would you think you'd have to? We never thought we had to.
We are changing the way we're charging our covenant fees, even though we are absolutely certain that we're doing it legally. We expect we may, because we've received letters to that effect, that we may be sued. We have to be able to defend ourselves. And I'll point out that if we don't budget for it, we wouldn't be able to defend ourselves. Because the way the bylaws are written, it's been pointed out, I'm sure you all have read this, that the board cannot spend more than 15% by category above what the budget is. Well, $40,000 is a big chunk of money. We hope we don't have to spend it. Next year it'll go against paving roads. But if we do have to spend it, or if we get sued, we wouldn't be able to spend it because it wouldn't be budgeted. There'd be no place to spend it from. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's a new issue, in other words, the covenant, the changing of the covenant fees
It's
from $10
because of that.
to
That's correct.
is a new issue.
Okay, Mr. Munger.
Next year or so, when you decide to renegotiate the STD, you're planning on eliminating the administrative and non-road expenses out of the STD budget. How do you expect to pay for those expenses out of covenant fees or DPPOA mandatory assessments when you're already spending all the current income?
Well, let me point out there's $40,000 set aside for attorney's fees. We expect that next year we will have those. The non-right-of-way expenses in the STD are under $30,000 right now, so we expect that we would be able to do it with those funds.
Should we call for the motion?
I will call for the vote. All those does anybody else have anything to say? And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the budget? Oh, I'm sorry, what am I thinking? Everybody take your ballot. Tear it in half. I'm so used to running a board meeting, not a Zoom.
Voting.
Can you explain again what you do? Explain again what you do.
While we're collecting the ballots, I'll give the floor to Mr. Zalusky.
All right. I'll have to raise my voice. I object to the non-voluntary fee that's been assessed. Retained cost. And anybody that wants to join me in this is welcome to do it. The last time it cost me $10,000. Yes, for approving. I got it. There you go. Yes, for approving. Shoot on 3 issues. Anybody else have
Just to be fair, I'm not sure if you heard Mr. Zalusky. He's saying he's retained counsel, and I assume you're contemplating suing us over this, which makes my point. And if anyone who wants to join him, you should get with him.
We can form a class action.
Okay, we need 2 people to count. Barbara count. And Ken, you want to count? Is that all right?
Sure, anybody who wants to. I can't. Okay, while we're counting the votes, I'm going to announce the results of the election. Did we get your attention? Everybody's attention, as you know, we had an election. Would anybody like to have clarification about the election before I answer?
I would like to object to the fact that I'm not allowed to vote because of this arbitrary fee.
Would anybody like any explanation? Mr. Zalusky was objecting to
The fact that I'm not allowed to vote because of this arbitrary fee.
he's objecting that he can't vote because he didn't pay his fees.
And I paid the basic fee, the fees that are required by the covenants. I will not pay the fees that are not required by the covenants and that are not go through the proper process of the election to change the covenants. So I won't pay those, and I will object, and I further object to the fact that I'm not permitted to vote on this important issue.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd like to see make sure the minutes reflect it.
Normally that would not be in the minutes. So I frankly, if you put that in the minutes, I would have to have consensus of the group. Excuse me, I have the floor. Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt that into the minutes?
Adopt what?
With his statement, because it is not, we don't normally track statements unless it's part of the motion or, correct. So they would take a motion.
I'll move to second this motion.
You move to second his motion? I didn't hear a motion.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that I object, that my objection to not being permitted to vote on this issue. Stated.
Be entered into.
Be introduced into the report.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Mr. Zalusky can't make a motion because he's not a member of the standing. Yeah, I would be glad to explain that. You have
This is kind of circular.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. If you're not a member in good standing, you not only can't vote, you can't make a motion. Because you don't have standing to be able to do that. So if someone else would like to make a motion, do that, or should we just move on?
move up.
I'll still make the motion to enter this statement.
Mr. Munger has made a motion to enter Mr. Zaluski's statement in the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Then we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor of entering Mr. Zaluski's statement in the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Oh, gosh. Let me do this now. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hands.
One vote house.
One vote per house, please. Okay, opposed? The nays have it, I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Now we have the results of the vote. So let me give the results of the election. In the election, we do not, typically do not give out the votes, the tally count. But I will say this. The number of ballots received was 276, which we mailed out 900 and, where are you guys? 900 some ballots went out, 276 received. And the three people that are voted into office are John Andre, Vince Verazone, and Tony Spakakis. Now, to the vote on the budget.
Could I ask?
I will do that. No, I'm sorry, you can have the floor. The vote was 34 yes, 1 no, so the budget passes.
Did you vote?
I want to take this opportunity.
47 votes ballot.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zaluski, you do not have the floor, please. Since we have 3 new board members, I want to welcome them. I see Jack's here, but and I'm welcoming the others as well. But we do have people that are leaving the board, and as a result, I want to present these 2 certificates of appreciation to Larry Rich. Aubrey Mumford. All right, moving on the agenda. Is there any old business we are not aware of? Any new business?
Just one thing to say about the safety committee.
Well, we skipped past the committee reports in an effort to
Sure.
have time. So we're in public comment.
Did you vote the 47 lots that are presently owned by?
There were no votes,
That would be a
but
covenant,
we can't do that.
that would be a covenant issue, not a bylaw.
And we couldn't do that anyway, so we would never do
Only for covenants.
that. And it's time for public comment. Everybody has 2 minutes if you want to talk. Anybody have anything they would like to discuss?
I'd like to know what is happening with roadside maintenance. It's looking pretty bad.
Good question. We do.
I know you're tired of me saying it.
No, I'm not. Actually, and let me point out that roadside maintenance has been crummy for the last couple of years as part of our budget cuts. We weren't doing it as well as we had in the past. We did have a new contractor doing it this spring, and it's not going as fast as we would like it to. They are working on it. We have been urging them to get done quicker, but it is in process, and frankly, if it doesn't get done a little quicker, we're going to find someone else to help out.
A new contractor.
We'll find another way to get it done. Any other comments?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
My name is Scott Birchfield. I want to state that what the committee did for the snow removal this year, you did an excellent job. The group that was out there did a great job keeping the roads clear, and I was able to get in and out of my home to work with no problems at all. Thank you very much.
You know who.
Joe,
I'm speaking on behalf of my wife. I think that my wife can hold you read about surf
Yes.
very, very bad. The overgrowth and the snakes and the smell down there.
what's the topic again?
Huh?
At the footbridge?
Particular footbridge.
Yeah, that happens every year. We'll take care of it. Mr. Rourke?
Have we flushed out the 3 dry hydrants in the community this spring?
Yeah, that, we are working with the fire department on that, through the safety committee.
Okay,
I don't think it's been scheduled yet, though.
thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Len?
The downspouts from the 2 upper lakes, you know what I mean by the downspouts? It's been years since they've been cleaned out. I was
cleaned?
suspecting it's.
Well, they were inspected last year.
They were inspected last year? Oh, okay.
We haven't looked at them this year, though, and that's a good reminder. We should do that. Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Holt?
I'd just like to say that I, for one, appreciate very much the hours and hours that the board has put in and Gary that you've put in, and taking our community down a wonderful progressive improvement over the years. And thank you, Gary, and everybody on the board, and Paula for stepping in. Thank you very much.
Let me make one comment that, this is almost a whole new board. There are 4 new members on this board, one by appointment, that have never served on this board before. That's almost half. I mean, you can expect to have a different flavor. I don't know what it's going to be. We're going to find out. But you can expect a different flavor. This is not the boards of years past. It's a very different structure, and I guess that's all I can say. The churn is good. Having new people on the board is healthy, and it's good for the community. So thank you for volunteering. Let me go back here, Ralph.
Since you're almost going to come to this journey, I want to make a shout out to everybody about the first annual 4th of July party we're having in joint with DPPOA and the Drum Point Club. If you don't know me, I'm the new president of the Drum Point Club, and we're trying to do some different things down here. And this is an effort for us jointly to reach out to the community and try to have it. So come on down. If you don't know the agenda, there's going to be a movie night on Friday night. We're showing 1776. Yeah, 76. Yeah. Patriotic movies, kind of comedy. It's going to be good. And if you haven't been to one of our movie nights, it's really nice out here. We have a big screen. It's about 6 by 6 deep, and it's real nice to sit out here. And I just, enjoy something, sit on the grass. And then on Saturday, we're going to have, we're going to start at 4 o'clock with the hot dogs and hamburgers. Gary and I will be on the grill and having a cold one, probably while we're doing that. And then you can watch the 4th of July fireworks from Solomon. So come on down, and those of you who don't know about it, pass it on to everybody else.
Ralph, do we bring chairs for the movie night or what?
Yeah, I recommend you bring some chairs and blanket. It's showing out on the area out here on the grass. And you may want to bring some bug spray too.
Thank you, Ralph.
Oh, thank you. We really need some people to volunteer for different things, especially for this activity. We need people to help clean up, to help cook, to serve, all sorts of things. So if anybody has any time, even if it's only for a half hour, Friday night and Saturday, that's the 3rd and 4th of July, give the office a call or give the club a call. Give us your name and tell us we can tell you what we have, what needs to be done, and you can decide if you can help or not. We really appreciate it. And volunteers in general for the association is always hard. We need people for committees and for other things that are going like the beach. There's always things we need volunteers for. So, thank you. If So we don't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have one more
One more
cheerleader.
thing.
I want to do, Rhea, would you stand up? Take a bow and a round of applause.
Kumbaya.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion, a second.
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 I assume we're all okay with that, we're adjourned.